you want.
We Are the Lucky Ones is a registered 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our mission is to document experiences from the luckiest fans while celebrating the finest fans. We accomplish our mission in several ways: writing show recaps, interviewing fans at shows, and hosting a podcast, giving fans many ways to share their stories. We are always accepting sponsorships and donations. If you are interested in contributing, please visit our website, www.wearetheluckyones.org, or send us an email, watlopodcast@gmail.com. Before we get started with this episode of We Are the Lucky Ones podcast, let's give a shout out to a few of our sponsors. Thank you to Simpson Yancey Law, Letter 9, and Magic and Glory. Enjoy the show. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to We Are the Lucky Ones, a podcast capturing the fan experience at live music. We are so lucky to have two fans here, Sam and Mike. We are going to talk about their experience at Phish shows and when they knew it was time to surrender to the flow. So, Sam, Mike, do you want to go first and introduce yourself, share your story?
Mike, you want to go or do you want me?
Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
I'm Sam Berry, and I am in Denver, Colorado currently. I move around a lot, like you, Danny. So, so my story is going to be a little different because my first Phish experience, I fell in love with the Grateful Dead, as I think many of us can say is true. Walked into a kitchen when I was 12 years old at a friend's house and stopped in my tracks because I heard the Grateful Dead playing, and I was studying music at that time, but I said, "What is this? It's the best thing I've ever heard." And so my friend's mom said, "Oh, we have ourselves a little deadhead, and let me introduce you to Jerry Garcia." And went out the next day, bought albums, started asking my mom to take me to cover bands. And I had missed the boat on the Jerry days. So a couple years later, when I was a freshman in high school, I met this girl who was having to come back to school because she left for Phish tour to sell grilled cheese on lot. And we started going on burn cruises together, and she had all these Phish tapes. So that was my introduction to Phish. And I thought, I really like this. And it's, they're still playing. So I have a chance here. But fast forward and get the announcement that they're, ending. And so my first show was Coventry, which is not an ideal first show musically, but obviously a highly emotional experience. So that was a really interesting time to come into my first music festival, my first Phish show. I went alone. I was 16. And yeah, it was quite, there's obviously a ton of stories around that you could dive into. But for me, that experience really solidified that this was a community of people that I wanted to be a part of and felt really welcomed into. Being a teenager on my own, I had older fans just kind of take me under their wing, and I felt so embraced, and it was a really beautiful thing. And then, of course, there was a hiatus, and 22 years later, I've kind of gone in and out of waves of seeing a bunch of shows or not seeing any for a couple of years. So I just hit my 100th on the 30th, actually. So it's been a long, slow road.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. Have you ever done like a tour or like multiple shows in a row?
Oh yeah. Actually the fall 2021 tour, I think I missed one show.
Wow.
And that was the first time for me just like going off on my own to completely do a tour, not needing to worry about having a group that I was meeting up with or anything. So that was an amazing experience for me too.
I always think that's interesting. The people that roll with big crews, the people that roll solo, sometimes you mix and match, but there's definitely something really freeing and empowering just totally rolling solo.
Yeah. I mean, I'm one of those people who does not mind doing a solo show, solo sober show is really special in my mind. I feel like it's an opportunity to view the music in a way that is not the typical experience for me. And I met so many people who are now my dearest friends on that tour specifically. So it's really opening your world up to all of these incredible humans that share your love for music and love to nerd out about Phish.
Yes. Is there a particular song that you like chase or that you love or that brings you back to that first experience?
I don't know if that brings me back to the first experience. I feel like this is the case for me with music in general, but there's a season for everything. So I've had particular years where maybe I'm going through something and that is pulling me towards just absolutely connecting with a particular song. So funny, it's like the song Joy, what didn't do it for me for a really long time. And then that fall tour, I was experiencing a lot of heartache and pain, and it hit me very differently. So it was very special to hear that play at the Chula Vista show. And I was bringing a friend of mine who had never gone to Phish for her first show, and she had turned to me at some point during that show and said, I get it. And it's just it's a beautiful feeling to hear people you love be able to share with you this thing that is really hard to describe and explain to people who have not been there and been present.
Yeah. It's definitely a family.
Yes. Yeah.
Soul family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spirit family.
Yeah. Golden Age is one too. I mean, obviously it's a cover, but God, I love that song, and just something comes alive in me every time they play it. And it's like this old familiar feeling of joy that bubbles up. And yeah.
Oh yeah. I love that one too. It's actually very aligned with the name of the nonprofit. We Are the Lucky Ones. I think about that song a lot when I explain the name of the organization, because it's like we're living in this golden age where we get into these metal tubes, fly through space, land in these random cities, see our favorite bands perform amplified music with these crazy lights. It's like, how lucky are we? Truly,
so lucky.
Truly the golden age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Mike, do you want to share, or Sam, do you have anything else to say? I don't want to cut your...
Not right now. Mike.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mike Eiselman, and I'm currently in Oakland, California. Similar to Sam, I got into the Dead first prior to Phish. Unfortunately, growing up in the Bay Area, I did not get into the Grateful Dead sooner. than I really wish. I did get to see the original Grateful Dead with Jerry Garcia, but not until starting in 93 when I was in college. I was in college in two places, in Santa Barbara and Boulder, and both of those places helped me get into both bands, the Dead and Phish. You know, I feel like I could have seen so many shows in regards to the Grateful Dead. In high school, I was invited to, and I just wasn't there yet. Probably my senior year of high school started getting into them. And then when I got into Santa Barbara, I started hearing a lot of the music and started hearing a little bit of Phish. And I was hearing more and more Phish. And I finally got to see the Dead for the first time in 93 in Vegas, and just got that same feeling as Sam said, that family feeling. We drove from Santa Barbara to Las Vegas, slept in a parking garage in my hatchback car. We luckily had tickets, barely had any money. It was an amazing experience. And while in Santa Barbara, me and Dan have communicated about this. I had the opportunity my first year in Santa Barbara in the town of Isla Vista, where UCSB is, to see Phish in 92. Someone said, let's go. You want to go to the Anaconda? And I said, I don't think I had enough money. I wasn't quite into them yet. I said, no. And in looking back, Widespread Panic opened for them. They did Gamehenge, and it's like, you kick yourself. You could do a whole podcast on the shows we missed, right? So moving on from that, I mean, I know, 30 years later what I missed out on, but not really at the time. But when I ended in Santa Barbara, I'd just seen the Dead in Vegas, and then I got to go to a festival in Monterey called Laguna Seca Days. And at Laguna Seca Days, Phish played it was a 2-day show, played two nights of the show. Almonds headline one day, 10,000 Maniacs headline the first day, and I was a big 10,000 Maniacs fan. And that kind of ties into my story later a little bit. So I was really excited to see all these other bands and bands that I knew I was going to see later. I was transferring to Boulder. There were 2 Boulder band Samples and Big Head Todd were playing. And so I was really excited. And we camped out in the raceway and, got to see Phish for the first time. And I was totally sucked in. There were 2 short sets, but just, seeing the goofiness, hearing the teases, even though I knew a lot of their music, I think I had listened to Nectar, Picture of Nectar, quite a bit, but it was a whole experience seeing them live and also having that sense of family and a festival situation, and kind of similar to how it was, not as big as Vegas. So that's kind of what sucked me in. And then I moved to Boulder immediately, and then was immersed into more of the Phish and Dead crowd there right away.
Easy to happen in Colorado.
Yeah, very easy to happen in Colorado.
Yeah.
And I'd say, to kind of answer your question, Dan, what you had asked Sam, the one song that kind of hooked me, definitely not a favorite song, but I like it at Laguna Seca Days, was they played Contact. And I was like, what a funny, goofy song,
It's a
and
love song.
I don't think I've seen it since. And unlike Sam, I have not seen as many shows. I'd probably call myself more of a casual Phish fan, even though my Phish timeline has spanned from 93 till now. I think I've only seen 45-ish shows and haven't really chased them as much. Like, only we'll see them when they come to me for the most part. This past year, I've probably seen them the most in 1 year. Early on, I went and didn't get to see exact New Year's of 94, 95. I saw, I think it's 94. I saw the 12:30 show, but not the 12:30 one because I got shut out from Phish tickets, of course. And I went alone to that show at MSG as well. But yeah, very little traveling for me to see Phish up until this past year.
And now that you see them, I know the eras are sometimes argued whether we're in 3.0 or 4.0 right now, but is there a song that you kind of chase when you go and see them?
You know, it's kind of funny because it's their most played song, and I don't feel like I've seen it a lot, but YEM is one song because I haven't in the last few years. I miss it for some reason. I know it's a very common song, but there's just something about that song that just gets me and doesn't bore me, I guess. And I have good memories of it too. The name of your nonprofit, or this We Are the Lucky Ones, is very apropos. I feel like out of my shows, I've been lucky, see some really good shows, and one was at Shoreline 99, and able to see Phil Lesh up on the trampolines. And I think they took a long break after that show, possibly. And so that image is always in my mind. But more recently, high energy songs like Carini really kind of get me. And lately, although it's also a cover, Cross-Eyed and Painless, I really love.
That was like the highlight of this New Year's run, I think.
The Cross-Eyed?
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, I wasn't
agree.
there like you guys, but listening to that, I was that MSG, I was like, this is the best version I think I've ever heard of this song.
It's so weird not to talk too much about that particular run, but in re-listening to it, it's weird. It was like my favorite kind of Phish. Because I do like when they play songs for 20, 30, 40 minutes. Don't get me wrong. I actually love the spacey boop, beep, boop jams. But I just love when they play that 8 to 14 minutes.
Right.
There's like something about when it like packs a punch. They're like rocking jams usually, super high energy. And then they're like, okay, done, on to the next song. And I feel like we got that pretty much every set except the last set. So 8 out of 9 sets were like that, in my opinion, where they just like Fast and Furious, like jam the hell out of them in this really like rocky.
Move on.
Yeah, then like next song. So we got to see like so many songs. I feel like way more than usual. I think.
You did. Looking at those set lists, you guys definitely saw a lot of songs.
Yeah, like because I feel like I was at MSG last year, and I feel like it was pretty common that a set would be 5, 7 songs, and we really never got that this year.
Yeah, like my friend looked at me on New Year's Eve and said, "Okay, wait, it's set 57 now. Sit down and," which is normally how it feels. But yeah, I felt like we had a lot of variety for sure.
Yeah. Well, what's one of your like favorite parts about being part of the Phish family?
Mike, you want to?
I can go. I mean, just the whole Phish experience probably for me is just you just don't know what you're going to get with every show. Um, and that's, people who aren't Phish fans, I don't think that's what they don't understand. You mean they
Like the
don't play the same show
unpredictability,
every?
It's
Say
like,
that
wait, you're
again?
seeing the
like
same
the
band?
unpredictability of it.
Absolutely. The unpredictability. What are they going to play next? I mean, similar, obviously, the Dead created that. And, you can look at previous shows and try to predict, what they're going to play. But beyond that, definitely, it's just like, it's like a box of chocolates. You just don't know what you're going to get every time with Phish. And obviously, the fans and the vibe when you're at the show and the craziness of people all encompass, and on top of some of the rudeness of people at the shows, it all kind of blends in and is a part of the experience. And recently being able to go to shows with a big group of people, kind of gives that family feeling as well. But I do like going to shows alone too sometimes. It's just a different experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I actually wrote my thesis on cultural communications and focused it a lot on music. And so there's, I mean, so much to be said for the uniqueness and yet shared similarity between the Phish community, obviously that sparking from the Grateful Dead, Panic, all of these different subsets, if you will, of the jam world. And it's like you said, Mike, it's like you don't know what you're going to get both musically and with your interactions. And I found that when you do just sort of let go, you run into the people you needed to and meet the people you needed to, and whatever you were experiencing, it's part of the journey. So, I'm sure we've all had friends who go like, I can't believe you're seeing the same band 4 nights in a row, or that you're seeing them this many times in general, traveling, you name it. Things that are difficult for people to understand if they haven't shared that world. But we all have sort of the Venn diagram that fits together, culturally speaking. So love that you guys are expanding outside of the Panic community into the Phish world, and I'm sure you'll continue that with other musical styles too. But it's just,
I'm
there's
not
always
that into Panic, just so you know, or I haven't been that into Panic. I'm just so you
No,
know.
that's fine. I mean, I think I'm one of the weirder ones that like love both so much and travel to see both and try to keep them even-ish. They're so different community wise, so I get so many different, energies and vibrations from each one. But yeah, I mean, you guys covered so much of what makes Phish so magical. It's like the people, the community, that taking you under your wing at such a young age. And I feel like Phish fans are so nice, like especially kind of being a little bit more of a noob, like very welcoming, very kind people.
And of course, they're not all that way, but fortunately, majority, I would say, are. And we've been really lucky to, I mean, that's how you and I know each other, right? It's like being welcomed in by a whole nother group of people that just come in like a big hug and embrace you and give you space to feel like you can be totally authentically yourself and dance your ass off.
Totally. And we did another podcast filming where we talked about kind of energy in live music and got a little bit heady, but kind of this idea that like maybe we've already all done this before. Like maybe we've danced around the fire before. Maybe our souls were all part of the same tribe and the same family, and we're just back here and found each other through these live music events that kind of brought us all back together. So that's kind of a cool concept I've been thinking a lot about.
I love that because that's very much how I felt coming into this when I was younger, and then continue to have these reminders of this just sort of like we've all been here before and we'll be here again kind of eternity feeling.
Yeah. Do you have a particular like favorite band member, favorite side to see them on? Do you like the floor or the stands? How do you like to experience your Phish?
Page side, rage side for me. Love Page.
Yeah. Are you usually in the stands or on the floor?
I'm personally not a big floor person. It depends on the venue though too. I like to be able to like set my shit down and take a load off if I need to, and have sort of a home base in that way. But I will get on it's all the floor in Mexico, so it'll be a little different.
Have you done the Mexico trip before?
One other time, yeah. I'm going back in a couple weeks.
So special.
Yeah.
I definitely love the floor. Any concert I go to, if I can be as close to the band as possible, is kind of how I am. But I can deal with just being in the building, as well. But I do think if I even get to shows late, I'll try to weasel my way up a little, if as politely as possible, or strategically as possible. And with Phish, I doesn't really, I do like being on the Page side, but I like to experience it from either center, mic side, Page side, basically the best sight and sound spot I could find, depending on the venue as well. And that, yes, dance space does now make more of a difference to me. I used to not really care about that, but I care more now, I guess.
Yeah, Boogie Room is always good.
I overthink what other people's experience is and how I'm maybe in their way. So that's part of why I think I'm more of a seat person. I'm like, okay, I've got a designated area to not feel like I'm worried about everyone else having a great time.
Oh, there's something so luxurious about showing up like close to showtime, go to your seat, set your stuff down. Like it's a nice perk. The floor can be a lot of work, and the way Phish manages their floor is very different than a lot of bands with early entry and a numbered system. I know at MSG there was like the Water Wheel Foundation early entry, regular early entry, and then numbers. And so, I had a numbered wristband, but it was like, then they kind of file you in and there's no saving space. It was pretty wild, and you have to get there very early. So it changes the whole experience.
And that of course has evolved a lot over the years. So I can't keep up with what's happening down there anymore.
It's very orderly, that's for sure.
Good to hear.
More than I was expecting.
Yeah. I think Mike made a really good point though about like it's so venue dependent, and also, I just love getting every angle. Like back behind the stage at MSG is a really, really fun place to be. And it feels like you're on stage with the band at times. But yeah, it's just a very different world. Of course, you're not getting as much of the CK5 lighting that you would love to see at times, but I'm okay with that occasionally, It's
just
having a different perspective.
I was talking about it with a friend because it's like, wouldn't it be cool if they'd sell a 4-day pass, but in all different areas so that you get those different perspectives? Because I agree, behind the stage, especially in the 100s for one night is awesome. It's like your eyes kind of going to break, but you can see the lights on the people, which is so cool to see 22,000 people lit up like that. Like, it's so cool.
One of my favorite things that shows is to look around at how happy and in their glory all of these people are, and to know, even if I can't see them, that there are a ton of people that I love spread around this giant space, but we're all together. And even if I don't get to have a run-in with some of those people, just knowing that they're in that same moment with me, there's really no other feeling that brings me more joy than that, I would say.
I could not agree more. I mean, seeing other people's joy is so infectious. And really, I mean, the Phish audience is huge. It's like a lot of people walking out of that venue in pure bliss. It's an amazing thing that they're doing, creating those high vibrations, and everyone's singing such silly, beautiful, positive songs together. It's a lot of energy going into that space.
Brings gratitude to the focus, even when you're having a time where it's tough to think about that outside of this music world. Sort of a reset button, personally.
It is. It definitely is a reset button. I feel like going to shows. I felt like after the Boulder shows and coming back, I felt great. I felt definitely that feeling, sense of reset. And even the year before when I went to Dick's, the first time experiencing Dick's, that just being able to hear, I just felt like the band itself then was just stepping up, like improving, like from the previous time I had seen them. And that was just to see these late 50 or 60-year-old men just improving at what they're doing and feeling great about it. And I finally able to, I think it was at Dick's, like let myself go, like dancing. I felt like maybe previously a little more reclusive, but now I'm like, I'm just gonna be me, I don't care what people think anymore. And so I think, that, especially that experience kind of was uplifting, rejuvenating, and surrendering to the flow, all that,
Yeah, there's days where it's not as easy to do that. I think we all experience that, kind of the reminder that, like, if someone doesn't look like they're having the best time, that doesn't mean they aren't. It's just, we don't know what's going on in each other's lives and behind the face. So it's going through your mind. Yeah. Just keep making references. But yeah, I think it's a really, it's therapy to me. It's why I keep spending my money seeing this band and traveling to go do this, is because there's nothing like having a show to look forward to. Do I want to get better about planning vacations that are not solely based on seeing music? Absolutely. But I am ready to put my toes in the sand and hear my, one of my all-time favorite bands play on the beach in a couple weeks. And that's keeping me motivated every day. So.
Oh man, doing MSG and then Fexico is such a dream. I mean, 8 shows that smushed together. I did that last year and just unbelievable. It starts off your year in such a high, and
Yeah. I would forget that I had Mexico coming up, and then it would be like this joyous thing where like, oh shit, I get to go do this again, but it'll be warm and
oh no,
and
less stuff.
full service. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I love what you all are saying. It is therapy. It is a reset. I like to think of myself as a little crystal that goes to these shows and get all charged up, and then you go back into your normal life and you're like heated and glowing, and it's like how we shine. And I hope that decades from now, when people look back at what we experienced at a Phish concert, it's like, it's really that. It's like this joy and charge up and reset that makes life worth living. It's like getting the next show, seeing your friends again, experiencing this ultimate vacation with your favorite people, doing your favorite thing, listening to your favorite music. I mean, it really is such a high.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes through my head anyway, and I'm sure for a lot of us, like during a show, that I wish I could press a little recording device and capture the thoughts, especially because the creative juices start to flow. I've never been one of the people who has my little.
I was gonna say, we have little notebooks. We'll give you one.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was just thinking at this run, I'm like, I should really start recording these thoughts more, because it is hard to pluck them back out of your memory after the fact. There's just so much going on, but just having a space to relate to other people, it's like my mom used to say, she's like, I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about, but I know that you're talking about Phish, because we'd be using just certain references, and she's like, it's a different dialect, but really special to be able to nerd out like what you guys are capturing with music in general, and this whole identity that people take on with the music that they love.
It's so true. It is your identity, and you're right. It is this whole vernacular that, yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to share with live music, Phish Nation?
Well, wanted to discuss, what you kind of brought up, with maybe talking about our favorite show per se. Because I didn't really bring that up in my intro. And I feel like I was very lucky to see this one particular show. But first, I'd like to talk about probably my second most favorite show was my first full Phish show, which was Red Rocks of '93. And it was Phish's first time at Red Rocks. And I happened to still have my ticket stub from then that I bought on the day of the show. This was August 20th of '93, and I had just transferred to Boulder. I had lived in Boulder that summer, went home to California, was in Boulder. I think I got back that day. I knew Phish was playing at Red Rocks. I called a friend from high school that was also going to Boulder, childhood friend. Her name is Terry, and it was raining that day. And I said, do you want to go to Red Rocks and see Phish? I think there's still tickets left. And she said, yeah, let's go. We bought tickets like in the afternoon. We drove from Boulder to Red Rocks. Like I said, it was raining. And then we got there right when the show started. We were kind of high up. And I don't know if you've opened the Red Rocks. You can see the entire Metro Denver area, and the rain basically just stopped, and the view was amazing. And of course, they opened up with Divided Sky. I pretty much on purpose, I think. And that show was great. And they played Harpua, which I've not seen since.
Highly
Trey,
coveted.
huh?
Highly
Say that?
coveted.
Highly coveted, yes. And I wasn't even coveting it back then. And Trey references a giant iguana. And then Phish continues to play Red Rocks until 96. And almost every show, I think Trey would reference the giant iguana that he had kind of created from Harpua at every show. And one other thing I'd like, before I move to my favorite show about Red Rocks, is that I think is poignant in kind of the transformation of Phish in the community, of what I was able to witness. In 96, they played 4 shows at Red Rocks, and it was the summer after Jerry died. And it was the combination of tours. And I witnessed from the top of Red Rocks concession area, there's a goalie, and it was filled with ticketless fans, like from the top of the hill down into the goalie, people in the trees. And I was like up there just watching, because the show was about to start. Maybe it was 20 minutes out, and you knew something was about to happen. And I don't know if there was a countdown or what, but it was like 3, 2, 1, and they all rushed the back fence barrier and climbed over the fence, and fan after fan were coming in. The first like 5 people may have gotten caught, but like after that, it was a bum rush.
Total free for all.
It was. And the town of Morrison got overrun. It was a replica, I think 20 years, maybe 10 or 15 years prior in Morrison, the same thing happened with the Dead. The fan base overran the town, and it was like history repeating itself. And now the Phish fan culture was changing a little bit because of Jerry dying, and this just more people, which was great for Phish, but they couldn't play Red Rocks again until I think they came back 3 years later, and then outgrew it again. And then they built it basically for them. But I just felt like witnessing that was a very kind of poignant looking back time in Phish history.
That's a great story. And you know, it's when you go to Red Rocks, it's interesting to think about a band and their growth, basically the fan base outgrowing Red Rocks, but it's very real. And that town is teensy. I think it's 350 people is the population. So it's, yeah, not every city is cut out to hold a band that brings that many people. I mean,
right. But moving on to my story,
yes.
Coincidentally, so I finished my first year at college in May. I saw Phish Red Rocks right before school started. School ended for Boulder in May, and I guess I went home back here to the Bay Area, and Phish was playing the Warfield for 3 nights. And I didn't have tickets for any of those shows. But on the last night, me and a friend and I decided to go ticketless. Someone who was younger than me, who I went to high school with, and we had gone to a Dead show at the Coliseum together a couple years ago. And my friend is an amazing guitarist, musician. And so he was, I think, into Trey. And so we were on the BART train. I don't know if you're familiar with BART in the Bay Area. We're coming from the suburbs of the East Bay, going into San Francisco, and the BART train lets you off a block from the Warfield. So it's very convenient on Market Street. And I see people on the train they obviously look like Phish fans, ask if anyone has tickets. I think someone ended up having one ticket, and I got the one ticket out of the two of us. And my friend, I felt, well, I don't really feel bad, but I think he got in for the first few songs. Like they allowed him to like sweep inside or something. I don't quite remember, but I know he didn't. I think he left. I even remember at one point like leaving my seat like in the middle of the show, like where's Ryan? There were seats where I was. I wanted him to come in, but found out he left for some reason, which was stupid. But so I got a seat at the Warfield, and this was my first indoor show. I'd seen two at Laguna Seca Days, and then one Red Rocks. This is only my fourth show, and the Warfield is, I don't know if either of you been there. It was my first time there. Missed out, obviously, on the whole Jerry run that was there and other amazing shows. But I had a seat that I felt at the time was far away. It was up, but being there since, it really wasn't that far away. But anyway, the show was just amazing. I mean, if you look at the set list, if you look at the reviewer synopsis, I got every song was new, probably except one for me, meaning from the previous shows I've seen. But the highlight definitely was the second set. They debuted with Simple, so they never played Simple before. And it went from Mike's song to Simple, Mike's song back into Simple. And I believe at the time, I could be wrong, people didn't call it Simple, may have been referred to as Skyscraper Jam. And after reading recently, I believe it was written for Hoist, but got axed off the Hoist album. So that was special in its own. And let me just pull this up here. What was also very special was I had mentioned that I was a big 10,000 Maniacs fan. And so the second set goes Susie Greenberg, Peaches and Regalia, my friend, Reba, Lizards, Julius, and then Nellie Kane. And in Nellie Kane, they went acoustic, and they brought out this violin player, Morgan Fichter, who I believe is in Camper Van Beethoven, but she had performed with 10,000 Maniacs on Unplugged. And so I knew who she was, I think, right away. And I believe she's also featured on Hoist, I read. But so she played on that song, and then My Mind's Got a Mind of Its Own, and then went to Mike's song Simple. And then after that, they brought out an opera singer named Andrea Baker, and they sang a song which they've never sung since, called O Mio Bambino Caro. And like, it was just like, what, like,
How
like,
bizarre.
It was bizarre. And it was like one thing after the other. And it was like, what's going to happen next? And what happened next was they passed out boxes, and I thought I still had one to show you guys, but I think I threw it. Boxes of macaroni and cheese that were Flintstone themed, like hard macaroni and cheese. And I think they passed them out right after that, because the next song was Possum. And I believe they may have teased Flintstones in a previous song earlier, but then they pass them out, and I believe at some point Trey explains that we're going to use them later in the show, later, and that there are bins when we leave to donate to the food bank afterwards. So in Possum, which was amazing, they did a huge Flintstone tease, and I think fans were definitely shaking. You can hear it in the recording, the mac and cheese. And so it's very high energy. And then that was the last song of the show. And then they encored with Jimi Hendrix Fire. And Trey, this is maybe when Trey makes his announcement about donating them, but he said that we're going to have a role and at Fishman's cue to shake them. And so like I just re-listened to the show, and Fishman says, shake, shake, shake at the drum break. And then when he pauses, everyone, you can hear the macaroni and cheese shaking in the background. So for me, like, and it went from Possum to Fire to Done, like the show, it was just very high energy. And it's like, wait, there needs to be more. I just remember that feeling like there needed to be more, but it was an amazing show. And then I think I had 2 boxes, and then I donated one and I kept the other, but I think must have thrown it away since. And then in true San Francisco concert fashion, they handed out this amazing poster that is behind me. I don't know if you can see it. I've got a glare.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Oh yeah.
The band members each are Phish. You can see who is who. The Momo, the glasses, the bass, Paige with the keys, Heart coming out of the tuna can. And they handed this out, and I got to get this thing framed. I think I held on to this for years, and then
yeah, I think if you hold it like closer to the computer, maybe the glare. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And you can find it online too.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that getting this poster was definitely a highlight as well. And yeah, I mean, you had asked earlier, like, what was that moment? Did you get the band? And like after that show, for me, it was like, okay, these guys, this is who they are. They can do whatever they want, and you never know what's going to happen. And so I still to this day, that was definitely my favorite show. It was just insane with an opera singer going from a fiddle player. Then all of a sudden they debut a song for the first time, which I thought was a little weird. It's simple. If you listen to it, it's very raw. It definitely has evolved. And then from that to the opera singer to the macaroni and cheese and the Flintstones, it was just like one crazy ride.
So fun.
Mike, what show is this again? You said Warfield?
5/27/94.
Okay, I'm gonna need to listen to this.
I know, that's everyone's homework.
Yeah.
I mean, and looking at the other 2 shows were great shows too, but this was just the icing on the cake. And I got, for me, I saw Lizards for the first time, and I felt like, oh my God, this is my favorite song. And it was just one, Harry Hood. It was just like one song after the other for me to finally get. So that's pretty much my story.
I love that so much. Everything about that, taking the train in, getting a ticket on the train, being by yourself, experiencing the oddity that makes mid-90s Phish, and then, yeah, I mean, the Flintstone mac and cheese box, it's so funny.
good.
Yeah, it was a trip. And
I couldn't
I
believe
remember
it. You know, it's like, yeah.
I remember meeting people from Florida next to me, and I think that's when I started to realize, oh, people are traveling to see this band, and I think you're from Jacksonville. I think they're from Jacksonville. I'm like, okay. And they were already touring. And and from there, Phish was going to play Laguna Seca Days, which had gone the previous year. I didn't go, but that was the next day for Phish in Monterey. So, and then I think they went down the coast from there.
So cool.
Yeah. I mean, the people you meet from different places, somebody was it was a post I read on social media, but that they met a couple guys that fly in from Israel every time for a New Year's Eve run. And I mean, at Coventry, the family that was like, wait, you're alone, come with us. They had come in from the Virgin Islands, and then had to abandon their RV and walk 20 miles. So it's
wow.
Yeah, that was quite the time.
It is cool. I actually did meet a couple from Israel at MSG this year, and I mean, people fly in from all over, coast to coast. It's really cool. It creates this community of it's like diversity in a lot of ways, but then this like commonality and similarity that like we all share this love for the same thing. So, wow, Mike. Well, thank you for sharing.
Of course.
That's a great story.
Thank you. Yeah, it was like you said, you feel lucky or lucky ones for seeing certain shows, and that one definitely stuck with me. And then there's shows that you think were just okay or were great, and then you look at the rating like, oh, that was much higher than I thought, or I didn't realize I went to Denver McNichols in '97, and they played. There is a famous Ghost that was played at that show, and like took me a long time to realize that, So there's both sides to it as well.
Every Phish show I've seen, I'm just like, wow, that was the best Phish show I've ever seen.
Right.
I'm not a good Phish critic, but the Green Team, I will say, have some tough critics. And so that's when I know it's good, like the New Year's show, because I love the New Year's show, and I was like, wow. And then when the Green Team was like, that's the best New Year's show in this era, I was like, okay, if the Green Team said it is, then it actually is.
Then there it is, yeah. Yeah, I love reading through, because like this is the Green Team is how, the three of us were connected. And they deep dive, because these are a lot of people who've been to a hell of a lot more shows than I have, and have double the amount of experience with knowing each other as well as knowing the music. And it is educational and funny and lovely reading the commentary in our group thread that these amazing people have to deliver.
Yeah, I have a running joke that I want to write a sociological dissertation on the Green Team and the nodes and where everyone fits in and how they've evolved together, the relationships, the marriages, it's like, it's crazy. I mean, you could write a whole, like thousands of pages, I feel like, on the Green Team. So Green Team shout out. Thank you for connecting all of us and for being such amazing fans. And thank you, Sam and Mike, for joining the podcast and kicking off our Phish content. I'm so excited to keep adding. So thank you for sharing.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
It's fun to share. It's fun to share stories.
Yes, thank you so much, and really excited for what you guys are doing. And I would love to chat with you more about it.
Definitely. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
This has been a production of We Are the Lucky Ones, a 501c3 nonprofit organization built by fans and built for fans. Keep on keeping on, take care of each other, and we will see you at the show.